Okay, so on the screen, I've just shared it with you. We can begin with our class today. In case you notice anything, maybe if you start to jump or skip, just feel free to raise your hand so that I can flow in at the right direction and before moving at the same pace. Okay, so in our previous lesson, we introduced our course, which is purchase and materials management. So we just kind of described or defined the definition of materials purchase and management, and we took a look at various terminologies that will be very vital in understanding our course as we go along the way. And I remember we ended on the importance of purchase management. So in our class today, this is where we're going to pick it up in the remaining few minutes. Then hopefully we can be able to do one or two things. All right, so purchasing management, just like any other form of management, is a very important tool when it comes to project implementation or when it comes to running of an organization. So among the importance of purchase management is of course cost-effective production. Now, producing, okay, production, if your project involves production of product or it might be delivery of given services, isn't it? So as you are purchasing the resources that will be required for you to be able to produce the products and services that you want to produce, or as you are acquiring or procuring or buying the equipment and the resources that are required for you to be able to deliver your services, it is very vital and important that you acquire those resources in a cost-effective way or procedure. By that, what they just simply mean is the money or the finances that you spend in buying or procuring those resources will be enough, okay, to be enough, and then it won't be wasted, okay, unnecessarily when acquiring or buying those given materials or resources. So purchasing is responsible for learning of the internal requirements, locating and selecting suppliers, obtaining the materials, parts, supplies, and services needed to produce a product or provide a service. So, in order for you to be able to ensure that the whole process of procurement of your resources for your production is cost effective, you have to be able to learn the internal requirements of your given project that you want to implement. Okay, and then after that, you have to start locating and selecting the suppliers, obtaining materials, parts, supplies, and services needed to produce your product at a cost-effective manner. Of course, the first thing you do before you do or undergo any given project is you first have to identify the activities and the resources that are required, isn't it? So you have to identify these activities, and you should remember we talked about it in our first class to say procurement or purchasing of materials or managing of purchasing of materials is a long procedure, okay, and this procedure requires that we first are able to assess or analyze the market and be able to look around, see at least a couple of suppliers that are available in the market. Then from those suppliers, we begin to what's this? We begin to compare the prices or the rates at which they are charging their resources or services. Okay. Then from there, we can be able to pick the right amount. Of course, we'll pick the amount that we know to say, okay, it is within our budget. Okay, if we pick a supplier, we should be able to pick a supplier that we are able to see that this supplier is supplying our materials or our resources or the resources that we want at a price that fits our budget and the money that we currently have available. Or maybe if you know to say you want to go and source some funds, okay, you have got sponsors, and then these sponsors maybe first want you to give them a budget, a realistic budget. So you go and survey the market, you take a look around, see a couple of suppliers, then compare the prices, and you must be able to pick the prices that you know to say, okay, these prices at least they'll be able to fall within the capacity, okay, the financial capacity of our sponsors. All right, so in doing that, we are simply ensuring that as we are procuring or buying the resources and the materials required for the implementation of our project, we are ensuring that it is being cost effective. And that is one of the most important factors or things about purchasing management. So it is a tool that ensures that we procure or buy resources and materials at a cost effective price. So that's one of the importance of purchase management or managing of procurement of materials. Now, another importance of purchase management is simply for the purpose of strategic management or is for strategy. So purchasing is a strategic issue. The manufacturers have to procure capital items like plant and machinery for manufacturing facilities. It requires heavy investment. So purchasing is a function. Okay, but in some organizations, especially small scale, purchasing is considered as a clerical activity. Okay, so in some small organization, purchasing is something that is not that much, as we can say, delicate, to be very strategic about it, because it is something that probably happens more often. However, when we talk about big organization, isn't it, that requires a lot of intensive investments and intensive purchases. Even our purchasing should be considered delicate and very important, and therefore we should ensure that we are very careful and strategic on how we handle this purpose. I mean, this procedure. The reason why is because if we are not careful, okay, any mistake will lead to uh, uh, loss of a lot of money, okay, in form of investments or purchasing of materials and capitals. You might end up losing a lot of money, especially if you have sponsors or if you have people that that want to invest in your given project, and then it is a large project that is requiring a lot of money. If you're not strategic about how you are procuring or purchasing your resources, you will end up losing a lot of people's money. Okay, so this is where now purchase management comes in to help you become strategic in how you go about procuring resources to avoid things like wastage or um, wasting other people's money. Right, and importance of purchase management. All right, so when it comes to purchase management, there are about 5 things that every project manager or shareholder or whoever is chairing that project expect for you to be able to achieve. Okay, so the first thing is you have to be able to achieve the right quantity. So let's say the project that you're undertaking has to do with production. Okay, so if you are producing maybe shoes, then you are expected to produce at least the right quantity. So if you're able to implement these tools such as purchasing management, to say you'll be able to purchase the right resources that will be required, you'll be able to purchase the right machinery. If you are hiring people, to say you'll be able to hire the right people with the right set of skills and experience that will help you produce goods in the right quantity. And then apart from quantity, we have got quality. Now, quantity is simply just the number of products that you produce. But when we talk about quality, we're simply talking about how good something you're producing is. So when they say the quality, they're simply just talking about how good the product or service is that you are giving or that you are producing. And with the help of uh, purchase management, you can be able to achieve this by ensuring that you acquire the right resources or you hire people with the right set of skills and experience. Apart from that, one of the most vital thing about management in whatever department or in whatever way is that management helps us to manage time. Okay, so by employing the management of procurement or purchasing of materials, you will be able to ensure that you also help with the management of time. Okay, so since you are in the department of procurement or purchasing of materials, you must be able to also consider at what time are these resources or materials that you are acquiring or procuring be needed in the given project that you want to implement, such that even as you are procuring, the whole process of procurement, you'll be able to know to say, if we take this route, or if we choose this supplier, or if we choose this form of logistic or transportation, we won't be able to arrive in time, or we won't be able to deliver the given materials or resources in time for the projects to be implemented. Therefore, let's try to take this route, or let's try to use this form of transportation, or maybe let's try to engage this other supplier so that we can ensure that as we are delivering those materials or resources, the materials or resources are being delivered in time for the project to be implemented. Apart from that, with the same procedure of purchase management, it will help you to ensure that you select or choose the right supplier. Okay, so the right supplier can mean a lot of things. It can mean someone who's got the resources or the materials that are of the right quality. It can also mean someone who has got the resources that are within close proximity to the project. Then it can also mean maybe just someone with the right set of skills. Okay, yeah. So all in all, with these two or with this department, it will help you to ensure that you select or you pick the right supplier of resources or materials for the implementation of your given project. And then last but not the least, it will help you also come up with the right cost. Like we had said, the whole process of procurement or purchasing, okay, starts with market analysis. You have to move around, see at least different suppliers, and then from those different suppliers, you begin to compare the prices of the goods or materials or resources that you want to buy. Of course, it's not only the price that you have to compare. You also have to compare other things like quantity. You have to compare things like quality so that you can be able to also be able to use the right quality and quantity of resources. But apart from that, another thing that is very important is you have to compare the price. Okay, you have to compare the prices and the costs of materials among these given different suppliers, so that you can be able to pick up the right cost or the right price of the materials that you want to purchase for the implementation of a given project. This will also be, of course, in tandem with the budget that has already been set. Picking the right cost does not necessarily mean picking the cheapest. Okay? It does not necessarily mean picking the cheapest, but it just means being able to pick the cost that falls within the budget that has already been set for the given project that you are working on implementing. All right, so from a top management perspective, these are advantages or importance of purchasing management. So from functional management perspective, the importance are an uninterrupted flow of materials and services. So under the wing of purchase management, apart from ensuring that you pick the right cost or price and quantity and quality and so on and so forth, there are certain projects that require an uninterrupted flow of materials and services. Okay, so it is your responsibility, or it is the responsibility of people under the wing of purchase management to ensure that as they are picking the supplier, they know to say, okay, this supplier will be able to supply us constantly or continually. Let's say maybe you are working with the Zambeef. Okay, so Zambeef deals, I believe, with a lot of farmers to supply them with chickens, supply them with all different kinds of products. I don't know if they also buy milk. They also buy chicken, pigs, and so on and so forth. So given the brand and the reputation that Zambeef has, if they are to engage a supplier, they will have to ensure that it's a supplier that will continually be supplying them with the products that they want to buy. Okay, so it will be the responsibility, okay, of the people under that wing of purchasing management to identify that supplier or that farmer, okay, that will be able to supply Zambeef with an interrupted flow of materials and services. Okay, then secondly, under the functional perspective, must also be, or the wing of purchasing management also helps to buy prices at competitive level, okay, or buying products at competitive prices. So here, this is similar to picking the right cost, only that this one is more concerned with ensuring that the prices that you pick are prices at which the market is competing, meaning you are not buying exaggerated prices. Okay, avoid being exploited or or finding a supplier that will sell you things at an over exaggerated price. Okay, so it is under this wing of purchasing management that will be able to help you do that, in that you'll be able to move around, check the prices of various suppliers, then compare and be able to pick out the most rational and competitive price. Okay, so the third one under functional perspective, that the wing of purchase management helps for you as you are implementing your project, is that it helps avoid under inventory or over inventory. So the whole process of purchasing management, of course, starts from buying, transportation, and also storing of products or services. Now, as you are storing products, you have to ensure that first of all, you have got the warehouse or the place to store this given product. Okay, you don't just buy products and you don't have a place to store them, or materials and you don't have a place to store them. Or if you are purchasing or procuring, you have to know to say, okay, so how much can we be able to store in a day? Okay, that in itself will be able to help you know how much you're supposed to also purchase in each given day based on the capacity that you have as a organization to be able to store the product or services that you are acquiring or procuring. This way, it will help you avoid over inventory. Over inventory simply just means being able to procure more than you actually need for a given time or a given day. Under inventory means procuring less than what is actually required. Okay, so either ways, through the purchasing of management, able to assess how much is required, so that even as you are buying, you are sure and you know to say we are procuring or purchasing materials that that we are able to contain at the same time is necessary and required for each given day. If you feel like maybe you don't really have enough capacity, then you have to come up with initiatives. Maybe you have to create some extra space at least before the whole procurement process begins. Or maybe you have to try to rent out some more space or some other warehouses where you can be able to store the excess inventory or resources or materials that you have purchased, so that you can be able to acquire and procure enough inventory that is needed for a given time period or the day. Then last but not the least, it is under the wing of purchase management that you're able to establish good relationship with other departments. Okay, so as you are purchasing these materials, of course, they'll be going to various departments, and it also help you link these same departments that you are supplying, okay, and help you establish good relationship. So in a nutshell, purchase management has the following benefits. So cost reduction or improvement, okay, improved material delivery, okay, shorter cycle time including product development cycle times, quality improvement, which is requires to satisfy or win the hearts of customers ultimately. Okay, so this is what we've been talking about. So these are the importance of purchase management, and for our class today, here we are going to end. Then when we come in our continue, we shall continue by looking at an example of what we have learned today. All right.